Right. I think we might be live. Okay. It is time for Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. I've got a tongue twister. I can't even speak my own mind. That's a darn shame. What's going on, everybody? Oh, it's Wednesday. It's Wealth and Wellness Wednesday. It's Hump Day. It's the day after the presidential fiasco that they call a debate, which I intentionally didn't watch because I try not to do things that I know are going to irritate my soul. And I was just sure that that was going to be one of those things. And from the sounds of things and everything I've read about it, yeah, good call. It was not good. But I do want to talk about one of the things that came up in the debate, and one statement in particular. I really want to talk about what that means for us. And so the subject of today's Wealth and Wellness Wednesday chat is really, whose vision are you living? And I think that we all need to get clear about whose vision that we're living, whose idea of our life are we living in. And so for those of you who've been following along and following me for a period of time, you know that I'm the Ultimate Power Coach, Marci Batiste, and my company is called Ultimate Power Worldwide, and it includes everything from the books that I write to my public speaking to my coaching business. And quite honestly, the coaching side is one of the pieces that kind of keeps pulling me back because I think that just like a dentist needs a dentist and a mechanic may need, well, maybe a mechanic might not need a mechanic, bad example, but a dentist definitely needs a dentist because he can't do his own root canal. So I'll say that. But so the coaching piece allows me to truly do one of the things that's important to me, which is to be able to help other people, particularly women, particularly disadvantaged individuals. I did a number of I have a nonprofit called Brave Foundation, which really focuses on victims and survivors of domestic violence. And so one of the things that's important in that arena is finance. So my business allows me to pair the coaching, which is important, and then also helping individuals, particularly women, find their financial footing. Basically, you guys, seriously, until we get our money right, we're always going to be living somebody else's idea or somebody else's vision for our life. And, you know, that can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes. I know, for me, there's, you know, I've talked about it before. I'll keep talking about it until it feels like people are getting it. But there's 5 principles. There's 5 pillars that we have to continually be focused on. And I call them the 5 P's of wealth and wellness. So the first one is you have to be present. You got to show up for yourself every single day. You have to make sure that you're positioned well. So aligning yourselves with the right kinds of folks. You got to be patient. Change doesn't happen overnight. Failure doesn't happen overnight. Success doesn't happen overnight. Change doesn't happen overnight. So be patient with the process, but still be persistent. Be persistent. You can't give up. You know, I share all the time. Many of you read a book called 3 Feet from Gold, and it talks about people who quit just right before their breakthrough. And so many times, you know, I tell my clients all the time, it's always hardest in the middle. It's always hardest in the middle. It's like when you start something, it's easy. You know, you're motivated, you're excited about it, and so it feels like, yes, I can do this, and you know, you're all in. You sell out to it, right? And when you get to that middle part, when things really seem to get hard and you've got obstacles coming at you from every different direction, that's when it gets tough, and that's when people want to quit. And that's the most important time to really, really dig in, dive down deep into who you are and remember what your vision is. And then the 5th principle is the process. You have to have processes in place. You've got to have a plan. You've got to organize and be strategic and be intentional about your success. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to achieve success at weight loss. Y'all know I share all the time my own personal journey and my own personal struggle with maintaining a healthy weight and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So I was off this past week on some shenanigans with my bestie out in Arizona and Cali, and I ate whatever I wanted and did whatever I wanted. But when I came back, and I'm back home now in Dallas, and I have a process in place. That meant getting myself back into the gym. That meant doing a cleanse day. So I'm drinking, today's basically a liquid day. So I have my isogenic shake, I have my isogenics cleanse for life. And that's how I will manage my day to get me right back on track. Because you still have to live life, and you still have to have fun. But certainly you've got to have a process in place that's going to get you back in track, bring you back into alignment with what your goals are. So at any rate, so today's topic, whose vision are you living? Whose vision are you living? So I saw when I was reading about the debate last night, there was a statement, I believe, by y'all's president that said, stand back and stand by, or something like that. Stand back and stand by. And the implications of that, y'all, we're going to take the whole racism piece and set that aside for a second, because I'm really trying to have these lives not be longer than 30 minutes, and out of respect for people's time. And I could go off on a whole other tangent about that, but that's a subject for another day. But the statement by itself, when you just look at those 4 words, stand back and stand by, that vision is not for our community. That vision is not for our people. And so when you see things like that, it's basically, you can say it was a call to arms for racists and so forth, but it's also should be a sounding alarm for us to get our money right, to get our lives straight, and have a vision for ourselves, and a vision for our own lives, and a vision for our own communities. Because until we get our money right, guess what? Always going to be living somebody else's idea. You're always going to be living somebody else's vision. You're always going to be living somebody else's vision. You have got to have a vision for yourself, for your family, for your life, so that you know where you're going. And now is definitely not the time to stand back. Now is definitely not the time to stand by. If anything, now is the time to dig in more than ever. To dig so deep in a place that you didn't even know you had, because there is so much riding on the fact that you don't stand back, and you don't stand by, and you don't sit silent, and you don't stay quiet. Now is not the time for that. It's not the time. That's his idea. That's his vision. And his vision has never been about us. It's never been about our communities. It's never been about helping the country. It's never been about helping people. It's always been about him, what he wants, and how he can get what he wants out of people, and out of the office, and out of the position that he's in. I don't know. For me personally, I don't think politics has ever been about us or about our community. It's always been about somebody else's vision. Can you sometimes find things that align with your personal vision? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can. Right now, you can't. And you damn sure cannot stand back, and you damn sure cannot stand by. You have to get engaged. You have to be intentional. You have to be strategic. You have to have your own vision for what it is you want to do, what you want for your family, where you want to go, and how you want to get there. And one of the pillars I talked about, being positioned, right? Now is the time to get in position. Now is the time to get information, to figure out what is that going to look like for you. We have to have our own vision. We have to be present. We have to show up for ourselves. That's why, you guys, I'm going to keep going back to those pillars. They're important in every arena. It doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You have to be present. You've got to show up for yourself. And now more so than ever, because clearly the politicians, they're not showing up for us, y'all. They're not doing it. That means we have to show up for ourselves. We have to stand up for our own communities. And more than anything, we have to have a vision for what our lives are going to look like, how we're going to get there. We got to be present. We got to be positioned. We've got to be prepared. We've got to be persistent. We've got to have a process in place. The only thing now is not the time to do is be patient, because this is a call for now. This is not a call for tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. It's serious. You know, we're seeing a lot in the news about you know, voting and the importance of voting. Now is the time to make your voice heard, guys. Now is the time. You have to build on and decide what that vision is going to be like for you. And it's, you know, sometimes your vision is going to change. I'm going to be real honest with you. My vision for myself and for my life at 20, 30, 40, and now at 50 is very different. It's very different. When I was in my 20s, my vision was to get my degree in journalism, travel the world, interview amazing people, tell their stories. I just wanted to make an impact on the world, and I still do. The difference is, and you know, and I have this sign but up here that reminds me, someday you will change the world. That's always been part of my vision, is to make a difference. But how I was going to go about making that difference in my 20s is very different than how I am and how I see myself making a difference today at 50. Quite honestly, I mean, I lived my 20s, my 30s, and part of my 40s. I didn't really have a vision for myself. I lived everyone else's vision. So when I say that, what do I mean? I mean that, for instance, you know, I talked about what my vision was, 20s, traveling. When that didn't happen, when life happened, I gave up. I let life happen, and I kind of went with the flow. And so when we talk about not quitting 3 feet from gold, I'm speaking from experience. I don't know how different my life would look had I been persistent in going after and chasing those goals. But instead, I allowed life to happen, and I lived other people's visions for me. I lived my mom's vision for my life. Her vision and her lifestyle says contentment. It says she's big on security, right? So for her vision for me was to, you know, get a great job, get married, have babies, buy a house, and live that lifestyle. And I did that. And I was very successful. I did make 6 figures. I had the house, the picket fence, the Labrador retrievers, and the husband and the 2 kids. And I did everything right according to everyone else's vision. But that was never my vision for my life. My vision for my life at that time didn't even include getting married, quite honestly. And that's why my marriage probably ended in divorce. And I said, you know, after 16, 18 years, I don't want to be married anymore. That was me discovering what my vision was for my life. And my life didn't look like what I was living at that time. So I made some changes. Hey Candace, I was, you know, close to 400 pounds at one point. Why? How does somebody do that? Like, how do you even get to that point? You get to that point because deep down in your soul, when you're not being true to your own vision and you're not living your own vision for your life and you're not happy, you're going to do things that's going to sabotage you. You're going to do things that, in that case, being that much overweight, I jeopardized my life. Let's be real about it. Anything could have happened. I was blessed and lucky that I never had any other health conditions like high blood pressure or heart disease or anything that came from that. It's strictly just the weight. But that was but by the grace of God. It didn't have nothing to do with how I was living. It had nothing to do with me having a vision or not having a vision. But I'll tell you what changed. when I got a vision, when I got a vision for myself and stopped living what everybody else wanted me to live, I lost 200 pounds. I got the divorce. I moved out of state. And I want to drop a pin on that real quick, because even that, so I did that when I was in my 30s at the time. I was living the whole married life. I had just gotten divorced a couple years before that. And I had an opportunity to leave Iowa, go to Arizona, and start a bank there. And everyone else's vision for my life involved me staying in Des Moines, doing what I'd always done, doing what makes everyone else comfortable. But my vision for me was freedom. I wanted to do something different. I had always wanted to leave Iowa, and I finally had the chance. And I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. I didn't have a lot of time to decide. Ultimately, I had never even been to Arizona before I packed up my house and I moved. And when I did that, it truly was one of, besides losing weight and getting the divorce, it was one of the first times that I was living for my vision for my life. It was one of the first times that I said, you know what? I'm going to put myself first, and I'm going to do something that's going to be good for me, but ultimately it was going to be good for my family. It was going to be good for my kids from a financial standpoint, but it was some years of really truly having some trials and some tribulations, because my kids were a freshman and a senior in high school. They was not about really moving to Arizona. That was not part of their vision for their life. That was my vision for my life, which I superimposed on them, right? But I did know one thing, and I knew that I had to honor and I had to respect their visions for their life. And so I did something that was the hardest thing I ever had to do, and that was I left my kids in Iowa with their dad when I came to Arizona. That was, man, I remember that day. Like, I remember dropping them off at their dad's, and I knew I was going to see them. I moved in January. They were coming out for spring break, but that was the first time in their entire lives that we were apart. We had never been separated for barely even one night. Like, they may have spent the night, at a friend's house or my mother's or someplace, but certainly not for an extended period of time. Certainly not me relocating clear across the country to a place I'd never been, and leaving my children back home. But when I'm telling you guys to be clear about whose vision you're living, I'm saying that from a place of experience. I'm not just throwing something willy-nilly out there at you. You truly have to be clear about what is your vision. My friends, when I did that, a lot of them was like, you're crazy. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. That's not a good decision. It's not going to be worth it. It's not blah, 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 blah. It wasn't their vision. It wasn't their idea. It was my vision, my idea for my life. So the pushback, the backlash, it's going to come, you guys. I'm trying to tell you, when you start doing things for yourself and what's best for you and what's best for your situation personally, it doesn't always, you won't always bring the people with you that have been with you a long time, right? And you're going to face some uphill battles. You're going to face some struggles. You're going to face, people telling you that you're wrong. People are going to tell you that you're crazy. But most geniuses are a little bit cuckoo. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit off. But that's okay. Because here's what I know to be true. The one thing that's always been part of my vision was freedom. Freedom to pick up and go. Freedom to go and explore and experience. I'm much more moved by moments and memories than I am money and monetary items. I'm not a materialistic person. So for me, for instance, when I moved here to Dallas, I have a very small condo. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and it's just me. But guess what? It's hella super affordable. So that allows me to do the things that I want to do. So if I do want to just pick up and go to Arizona for a week or so, I can do that because I've done the things to build freedom into my life story. That is part of my vision. My freedom is part of my vision. My ability to go here, go there, do this, do that, to make changes, to pick up and move when I want to. You know, I mean, I got kind of a little like gypsy spirit or whatever, but guess what? That's me. That's me. That's my vision. But if we don't have our money right, we don't have our minds right, we don't have things in order, and we're not clear about where we're going, it's pretty hard to make a plan for where you're going when you don't know where you want to be. You got to get clear, y'all. Y'all got to know what that vision looks like for you, not for anybody else. Now, can you always just, pick up and randomly move across the country and, do some of the things? Not necessarily. I'm not suggesting that anyone do things hastily. I'm suggesting actually the opposite. I'm saying get yourself in alignment with people who can help you get to where you're going. So if that means you need coaching for your life, your relationship, or your business, whatever the case may be. One of the things that I always tell my coaching clients is your life, your relationships, and your business have to be in harmony. They're not ever going to be in balance. Something's always going to be a little, but they have to be in harmony. So they have to flow. They gotta kind of move together. If any one of those 3 things is out of whack, then the other 2 are going to be off. You're going to see it in your performance. You're going to see it in your relationships. Things are going to be rocky in your life, and you're going to be hitting bump after bump after bump, and you're like, what the hell is going on? That's the universe telling you something's off. Something's off. So you got to get back in alignment. You got to get your positioning right. For me, the coaching piece of it, being able to help people find their vision, your life, your relationships, and your business, getting all that stuff in harmony. But I pulled the credit piece in because if we don't have our money right, y'all, we can't do any of those other things. A lot of the things that I've been able to do and I've been able to accomplish have been because from a financial standpoint, I've been in pretty good position. Okay? Let's be clear. And one of the other things that I like about the credit piece and why I'm drilling so hard on that these days is because you won't always have the cash money on hand to do some of the things you need to do. One of the things my mentor used to always say to me, do you want that thing, or do you just want access to that thing? And again, that goes back to your vision. What is your vision for yourself? Do you want the thing, or do you want access to the thing? Credit gives you access. Credit gives you access. Credit gives you access. If you don't remember nothing else, remember your credit gives you access to the things that are going to help you build your vision out. Credit gives you access. And until you get your money right, everything else is going to struggle because you're not going to be able to necessarily have access to the things, to the resources, to the people that you need. And so making sure that you're financially positioned well is key. And a big component of that financial piece is your credit. When I was consulting with a client the other day, and she said that one of her goals is to refinance her house. Right? So interest rates are super low right now. Now's a great time. But guess what? Her vision is for refinance. But her credit is standing in her way of her vision. So is that important? Absolutely. You've got to get your money right in order to have access to the things that you need to do. And, I can't stress it enough, guys. Like, somebody else's vision is always going to be about them first. It's always going to be about them first. Not because they're assholes, not because they're selfish. It's human nature. It's human nature to do and to have your own best interests at heart and at top of mind. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with somebody wanting that. The problem is when you give up your vision for yourself to go live somebody else's vision, or go live somebody else's idea of how your life should look. That's where you get unhappy. Hey, Debbie, that's where you find unhappiness. That's where you find discontentment. And like I said at the very beginning of this, you guys, now is not the time to stand back. Now is not the time to stand by. Now is not the time to be silent. Hey, Gillette, now is the time to figure out what is your vision for yourself. Whose vision of your best life are you living? You know, I was giggling earlier when I was thinking how many times in the past I had went through and I, like, you know, we post these fun pictures of things that we're doing and we're out and about and we're like, hey, living my best life. But are we? Or are we faking it? Is it truly your best life? Like, for me, like I said, I've had the houses, I've had the cars, I've had the motorcycle, I've had the husband, the kids, the Labradors, the everything. I've had it. To a lot of people, I was living my best life. But to me, that wasn't my best life. My best life is about freedom. My best life is about doing the things that make me happy. It's about the memories. It's about the moments. And so for me, going, for instance, back into corporate, entrepreneurship is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But guess what? It's my vision. I'm living my vision for my life, because unlike being in corporate, I can pick up and go. I run my business now through my cell phone. I don't have to punch a clock. I can go to the gym at noon when it's not crowded. I can, you know, take the afternoon and go do something with a friend who happens to be in town without asking somebody's permission. Now is not the time to stand back, and now is not the time to stand by, and now is certainly not the time to live somebody else's vision, you guys. Get your money right, get your credit right, get your mind right, and live your vision of your best life, because it's not necessarily going to look like everybody else's. I don't have now a lot of the material things that I had before, because I intentionally walked away from those things, because what I realized was all of that material stuff, the 5-bedroom house, the swimming pool, all of that stuff that I had strived so hard to achieve, those weren't the things that made me happy. The things that made me happy inside of those material things were the moments, you guys. They were the moments. They're the memories of the crazy Super Bowl party that got completely out of hand. There were memories of, you know, pool parties and barbecues and learning to play spades and learning to slam bones and talking smack. And that's my best life. My best life is about people. My best life is about moments. My best life is about memories. My vision for my life is about freedom, and I'm sold out to my happiness. And I'm happiest when I'm free, when I'm completely, like, unattached to whatever. And so when, you know, even when I moved to Utah, the opportunity came up. It was an opportunity to do something I'd never done, live someplace I'd never lived, and make some dope money doing it. So guess what? I literally loaded up my car. All I took with me when I went to Utah was what I could fit in my car. Clothes, computer, that was it. And I left everything else here in Dallas. I made arrangements for my place here. So when I was ready to come back, guess what I did? I'd had enough of snow. I'd had enough of earthquakes. I decided Utah is not my vibe. Guess what I did? I loaded up my car and I brought my butt back to Dallas because I just want to be happy. For me, that's my vision. My vision is the freedom to be able to do those things. And so inside of that, y'all, make sure that, and I'm going to leave you with this last thought. Because I'm right at my time. But make sure that the people that you have around you will support you emotionally. Even if you decide that your vision for your life is not their idea for your life. That your idea, the thing that you want to accomplish or the place that you want to go makes them uncomfortable. Make sure that they're still going to be in your corner. Like, I've got an amazing board of directors. I've got an amazing couple of mentors that even when I'm off my game, my mentors will tell me, they can see it, right? They can see it. And that's the importance of having that circle around you guys that knows what your vision is and will support your vision. They'll support your vision. They don't necessarily have to be your cheerleaders. They don't necessarily have to buy your products or your services. But will they support your vision emotionally? Will they still be there? Will they still ride for you? Will they still rock with you? That's important. That's important. For me, my vision is about my people. My people. My communities, my friends, my family. That's what's important to me. My freedom, my happiness. You know what I'm saying? So, again, 5 P's. Write these down. Commit them to memory. You've got to be present. You've got to be positioned. You've got to be patient. Change doesn't happen overnight, y'all. And I know when you get that vision in your mind and you're just ready to go, but be patient. But don't give up. Don't quit 3 feet from goal. Be persistent. Be persistent. And the 5th P is the process. Understand there's a process for change. Understand that there's a process for living your best life. There's a process for living your vision. But first you got to decide, whose vision are you living? So with that, I'm 2.5 minutes over. Y'all have an amazing day. I will see y'all next Wednesday for Wealth and Wellness Wednesday, live at 5. In the meantime and in between time, be good. And if you need me, just ping me. I'm just a ping away. All right, y'all have a great day. We'll talk soon.